DSE Mini Futures 2000 tick chart, and we're using price action rules and market geometry to determine where to enter for high probability setups. So looking at the overnight session, we had a pretty slow chop right here to the downside, and then right around market open we started this uptrend here. I was following these short-term channels first, but as we kept pushing higher, like you can see here, we created a new high for this channel, pushed below, and then we kept working higher, created a new high here, and now we're pushing higher again. When you see that, you have to start looking for a wider channel. Now, I drew this wider channel. It's not quite confirmed yet. That's why I skipped this second entry long right here. You can also draw a short-term downtrend. And I don't really like to take longs unless the bear pressure is played out, right? So this channel needs break, push to new extreme. Looks like it's going to do that. But I skipped this trade for that main reason. The short-term downtrend, it needed new low. These just aren't super high probability setups. You want to see two clear legs to push to EMA and a nice signal bar confirming the setup. But we didn't get that here. You can see it looks like just one leg down with a bull bar, and we broke below EMA, so had to skip that. Looks like we might be getting some volume here. I want to see a good push phase to confirm this wider channel before I continue to look for longs. Let's see what happens. All right, guys, we're back above EMA. We kind of bounced off of this trend line down here, but I'm going to go ahead and consider this channel valid. You can even draw a little bit tighter, something like this. Fits a little bit better. You can see we have first bounce, second bounce, third bounce, and it respected that trend line and continued to work higher. To look to go long here, we can reset count from here. First entry long, pull back, second entry long here at the EMA. I want to see something kind of like this. So I want it to pull back to EMA, give me a nice signal bar so I can catch a long. That would be considered a second entry long, also a higher low. I like that we're back above EMA though, and it respected this trend line. So valid uptrend. Hopefully we can get along here. Let's see. So we were originally counting from this high right here for a second entry long at the EMA, mini high or low. But the minute we push past that high, we have to reset count. And then if we make a double top like that, we have to reset count again. So resetting count from here, I'm looking for a second entry long at EMA to go long. That's the only way I can consider going long here. Let's see what happens. All right, nothing formed. We pushed back below EMA. And I think we've pushed so far down that I can't even consider a higher low above EMA. So if we bounce right here at this trend line, I'd like to see first entry short, pull back, second entry short, failure. Failed second entry short above EMA to continue this uptrend. Alright guys, I tried to enter this second entry short right here. You can see we have new low, first entry short as soon as we broke below this bar. Pull back as soon as we broke above this bar, and then second entry short as soon as we triggered below this signal bar right here. It's a little bit more risky because of how far away the body is from the EMA here. But this downtrend needed new low, and it created that. In my book, it's pretty decent, pretty good trade. Now, in a situation like this, you might be better off sitting on your hands and not taking this trade, but considering the bias, you can see this strong spike down, break, push to EMA. We need new low. Good enough signal bar. I wish it was a little bit closer to the EMA, but I tried to enter on it. Didn't come back and fill me, as you can see, but it would have worked. So overall, pretty good trade. If you were able to get filled there, I think you could make a case for it. Now that we have new low, we're expecting new high for this uptrend, so I'm hoping we can push back above EMA, maybe even get like a failed second entry short here. I like going long right after this bear pressure played out. You can see break, push to new extreme, all bear pressure played out. So there's no case to be made for bears right now, you know. So we want to see a push above EMA, failed second entry short. We've pushed too far to consider high or low. But if we push too high up, then I'll take a second entry long to test new high. All right, we had a higher low here, but you can see we broke below EMA. This is an EMA gap bar though. Very, very big bull bar. You can consider going long there, but it's a little bit more risky. I'd rather have a failed second entry short. And now that we're pushed so far up, I'm looking for a second entry long to test new high. We got first entry long here. Hopefully we can pull back to EMA and get a second entry long so I can ride it up to this new high. We passed up this high right here, so we have to reset our count, but I'm still looking for second entry long to test new extreme. Alright guys, we have a nice second entry long here. You can see new high, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. Once we get a trigger above this bar, I'm going to go ahead and put my limited order in here at 8 ticks. But we have yet to trigger above, so I got to wait for that before I consider entering this trade. Alright guys, we got the trigger. I put my limit order here at 8 ticks. I'm going to put my stop loss 1 tick below this bar. If it fills me, let's see if I get filled. Alright guys, so as you can see, we got this big bull bar. It looks like the trade's already played out. And after it goes up that far, I have to go ahead and cancel my order. Doesn't look like it was going to fill me. It looks like it's going to push to new extreme though. And I'm not willing to risk more than 8 ticks, considering I scalp 8, 16, and then I leave 1 in for a runner. After it goes 8 ticks like that, I got to cancel my order. So back to waiting. Let's see what happens. You can see how perfect this price action is playing out. We had this nice confirmed uptrend working higher, and then we had this spike down break outside of this channel. After we see that break, we know that we need to create a new high, higher than the highest high inside the channel. And then we had this downtrend break out of that channel. Perfect second entry short to create new extreme. After the new extreme was created, we know that all bear pressure played out. And then you can see this higher low confirming resumption to push to new extreme, right? After you see that, you start to look for a long to create new extreme for this uptrend. Nothing formed here, but then you get this nice second entry long. Perfect pattern, nice big bull bar off of the EMA. You can see it rejected right off that EMA. I mean, that's a high probability trade, and it created new extreme just as we expected it to. So once you can understand these rules and have confidence in them, do your back testing. You know, the most important thing is that you build confidence in the strategy itself. Once you have that, all you need is the patience, man. You just sit in front of the chart, wait for these setups, look for your key entry points, and understand, you know, these price action rules. After break, we need new extreme. You find a high probability setup off the key entry point. Nice bull signal bar confirming the setup. You enter there and you ride it up to new high. So perfect price action so far. Now that we've created new high, we expect correction or reversal. So the market could really do anything here. It could correct sideways, or we could start a new direction, maybe bit down, or if we continue up, we can look for another uptrend. But so far, just sitting on my hands. We have new high, waiting for new market cycle. I'm gonna go ahead and take my break here, wait for the new market structure. Hopefully when I come back, we have something established and I can start looking for trades. All right, back from my break, and I'm looking at this. So we created new high right here, and we just continued to push higher, and you can see how far away we are from the EMA. That means there's a lot of bull pressure. So I'm thinking there might be some kind of wider channel, something like this. So if we get a break out of this channel, or even like a second entry long right here, I can consider. I wish this one would have filled me. You can see the massive runner I would have had, but I make that sacrifice by, I use limit orders, right? I'm only risking 8 ticks on any given trade, and I'm not going to get filled on every trade. But when I do get filled, I'm only risking 8 ticks. So there's trade-offs to it, and I prefer to trade this way because trading isn't just, you know, finding the setups and taking them. It's also risk management. If you risk Like if this was like a 4 point bar and I'm risking like 16 ticks every, every time I enter a trade, only scalping 8 with my initial scalp and then I move to break even. I mean, the risk to reward is insane, So using a limit order, I risk the same amount of ticks every time I enter a trade, and that keeps me profitable over the long term. So hopefully we get something here. The market's definitely slowed down. The ATR is 1.6, so sitting on my hands. Hopefully we get something though. I'm hoping for a second entry short here. We have this downtrend working lower. First entry short, pull back. I'm hoping we get a good bear bar here. If we do, I'm going to consider risking this. Now there is a potential for overshoot, and after overshoot you want to skip your first second entry short or second entry long just to play it safe. But I like how it looks like two visual legs pull back to EMA. Looks like we're gonna stay above EMA here though. If this reverses bearish, it'll definitely be a good trade because it'll show a lot of bear pressure. EMA will hold. Let's see what happens here. We closed above EMA. So if I'm going to consider going short now, I need a lower high below EMA confirming the second entry short. If this ends up closing below EMA with a nice gap bar, I might consider, but it needs to close below EMA pretty well and look very bearish. All right, we closed above EMA, bearish doji, so I need lower high. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Pretty good day. Definitely a lot of really good price action examples. So we started the day with this nice uptrend working higher. You can see it's nice and confirmed. Multiple bounces off of the bottom of this trend line. And then once we broke out, we had this nice strong spike. That channel needed new low. So we got a nice second entry short right off the EMA. It's a little bit risky because the body's so far from EMA, but I still like that trade a lot. And as you can see, it worked out. Pushed to new low. And just as we expected, after new lows created, it can create market reversal or correction. And you can see it reversed back to the upside. Now, we had this little uptrend working higher. Break pushed to new extreme here, but this uptrend still needs new high. And we got this nice second entry long, nice bull bar. You can see it's kind of like a visual two-leg pull back to the EMA. The market likes to move in pairs of two. You can see that. And if you could get filled on this trade, I mean, look at the runner you could have had. You would trail your stop loss, your runner stop loss, one tick behind every pullback. So you trail it here, it breaks above, breaks back below. Your stop loss would still be safe here, goes up, breaks below. So you'd move your stop loss here. Up here after this pullback, you'd move your stop loss here. And then here. So you would have caught, if you would have entered at the top of this, you would have caught a 27 tick runner on top of your initial scalps. So super high probability setup. I love that trade. Unfortunately didn't get filled, but that's all right. All we really need is one trade like that a week, and we can make a really good income doing this stuff. So it looks like we had an overshoot here of this channel. The reason I drew this channel actually is because after we created new high, you can see we continue to push higher. We're super far away from the EMA and we just keep working higher. So you have to ask yourself why, So I drew this wider channel. Looks like we had overshoot. I didn't know this at the time, but I was able to draw after and realize like, okay, overshoot there. So if we have overshoot of a channel, which is basically a break of the channel, but towards the side that the direction of the channel, right? So if it's an uptrend, it'll be a break out of the top. That's overshoot. If it's a downtrend, it's a break out of the bottom. That's overshoot. After overshoot occurs, it can lead to a complete reversal of the market. It looks like that's what happened here as well as here. So we had overshoot, new channel, had overshoot of that channel, and it led to reversal. Look like we can draw a little wider channel here. At the time, it's hard to realize that. I think I had my channel drawn a little bit wider like that, but you have a failed second entry short here confirming the reversal, as well as a higher low confirming that failed second entry short. So if you had this overshoot drawn, you can consider taking that. as well as this higher low, but I think I was playing the channel like this a little wider, like I said. So no trades, unfortunately. I tried to get filled on these two super high probability setups. I think I was going for 8 ticks on both of them. Didn't fill me there and didn't fill me there. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but it's all right. Tomorrow's another day. You don't have to take a trade every day. You just have to take one trade a week that's high probability and make you some good money. So I appreciate you guys for watching. If you have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with some more content explaining this strategy a little bit more in depth. I'm going to start making some like PowerPoint slides and stuff like that to explain kind of what I'm seeing here on the markets, and can use it as kind of like a study lesson, use it as like a schooling to learn the strategy and stuff. It really works, man. Like you can have 80-90% win rate most of the time. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and good luck with your trading.